With the first pick in the 2017 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Markelle Fultz from the University of Washington.
With the first pick in the 2007 NBA Draft, the Portland Trail Blazers select Greg Oden from Ohio State University.
I wanna go far, there's no stopping. I see them watching, I see them hating. One day I swear I'ma be on the station. Mama, I gotta make.
This summer, we've seen one of the craziest off seasons in NBA history. I would just come out and say it. This has been the craziest off season in NBA history. We haven't seen an off season this crazy since about 10 years ago. In 2007, the NBA's offseason was just different from the start. The craziness all started on May 30th on a Stephen A. Smith radio show where Kobe shocked the world with this.
Well, if you don't know how you can move forward in that situation, you're still under contract with them. Are you saying right here on this show that you want to be traded?
Yeah, I would like to be traded, yeah.
Throughout the summer, there were no moves for Kobe, but he was still one of the biggest talks in the NBA. Somewhat like the Carmelo Knicks situation, Kobe wanted to contend for a championship, but the Lakers wanted to continue a rebuilding process, according to Kobe. But also in 2007, the kid from Akron finally elevated his career to the next level. LeBron solidified his hype by dragging a sorry Cleveland team to the NBA Finals where he got swept. But everyone besides Skip Bayless gave him a ton of credit for dragging that C team to the NBA Finals. Fast forward to the NBA Draft, where Greg Oden out of Ohio State gets selected number 1 over the one and only scoring machine out of Texas, Kevin Durant. And looking back on it a decade later in 2020 hindsight, obviously, it's still crazy what could have been in Portland if they just would have selected Kevin Durant. That's still crazy. But also in that draft, Danny Ainge made his career-defining general manager move. The Celtics traded away their 5th overall pick, Wally Szczerbiak and Delonte West, to Seattle for an all-star with Ray Allen. Also for the Seattle Supersonics, they lost another one of their all-stars, Rashard Lewis, to the Orlando Magic, so that's that. But at least they had Kevin Durant to make up for it. Then, about a month later, the craziness continued. The Celtics traded away 7 players for Kevin Garnett himself. And to emphasize the significance of that, they traded away 7 players for Kevin Garnett, which is still the largest amount for one player in NBA history. But nonetheless, it was worth it because the Celtics finally surrounded Paul Pierce with 2 All-Stars that can actually contend for a title. But on a crazier note, about 2 weeks later after the draft, one of the sketchiest things in NBA history happened.
Donaghy pled guilty last year to taking payoffs from a professional gambler for providing recommendations on how to bet on games, using his inside knowledge of players and teams.
What's your reaction to what happened here? Guys, back up.
He also admitted to betting on games where he officiated as referee. He reports to prison in September.
A 13-year NBA referee was actually charged and sentenced to 15 months in a federal prison for betting on games that he actually had to officiate. And if you never heard of Tim Donaghy, he's actually one of the referees that ref one of the sketchiest games in NBA history, the Kings and Lakers Game 6 in 2002, when the Kings were robbed with hell of calls. And he actually wrote a book called The Personal Foul, where he actually admits that NBA games are fixed for money and stuff like that. So yeah, man, if you ever heard of him, go look up that game. But even during this crazy scene, the NBA season still popped off and there were still many questions to be answered all around the league. Portland's number 1 overall pick, Greg Oden, couldn't even start the season due to a surgery on his right knee. So Portland fans everywhere were wondering, how long is this dude going to be out? Kobe still wasn't happy in LA and the Lakers were looking for a trade, but just like Carmelo this season, Kobe had a fortunate no trade clause, so they needed his approval. The Lakers could have traded Kobe to the Bulls where he actually wanted to play, but it would have involved Luol Deng joining the Lakers, and Kobe wanted to play with Luol Deng if he went to Chicago, so he wouldn't have let it happen. So basically Kobe and the Lakers had to tough it out together, but on the East, Boston with their new big 3, they were rolling. By January, they were 29-3, and they even wanted to bring back sniper Reggie Miller out of retirement that year. I mean, it was clear that their big three was a success from the start. They went 29-3 by January 5th. But fast forwarding through the season, the Lakers ended up landing Pau Gasol mid-season in a trade that actually involved Pau Gasol's brother Marc Gasol from LA, and this eventually helped the Lakers meet Boston in the NBA Finals, where they ultimately lost in just 6 games. And also in the West, just like the Lakers and Kobe, the Mavericks actually got Dirk Nowitzki some help when they brought back Jason Kidd to the Mavericks in the mid-season trade. And the Phoenix Suns eventually traded Shawn Marion for Shaq to Miami, so that was that. But that really never worked out because Shaq and Mike D'Antoni's system, he can't shoot. It just never worked out. And as for the NBA champion Boston Celtics that season, they completed the largest single season turnaround in NBA history by winning 66 games, which was a 42 game improvement. And it's crazy what a few players can do for a franchise. I mean, you bring in 2 single players and they're able to win 66 games, a 42 game improvement. I mean, that's crazy. That just shows, man, superstars run the NBA. But as for rookies that season, Kevin Durant won the NBA's Rookie of the Year, joining Carmelo and LeBron as the only teenagers to ever average 20 points in a single season. But unfortunately, his draft class buddy, Greg Oden, missed the entire season, man. Poor Portland. And as for LeBron that season, he didn't make it to the finals, obviously, but he averaged 30 points per game and won the scoring title and made it to the semifinals versus the Celtics and took him to 7 games, and it was actually a classic, so LeBron was still LeBron. And as for Kobe, he won his only MVP that season and made his first finals without Shaq, but it still didn't stop Shaq from doing this after he lost.
You know how I be. Last week, Kobe couldn't do without me. You know how I be. Last week, Kobe couldn't do without me.